You're connected to Business Wrap. Find us online at businesswrap.biz, on Twitter using handle AskBizWrap, and on Facebook, just search Business Wrap. And now, Be Insured with Luke Mardigan, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Be Insured. My name is Luke Mardigan, the owner of the Mardigan Agency in St. John's, Michigan. And a lot of people ask me why we have a radio show, and it's simply because we've been able to do something that is very rare in the captive insurance agent space, and that is we have a self-managing team and a sales team that is fully scalable. And what that's allowed us to do is grow a book size that's about double the size of your average captive insurance agent in our company. And today we are going to talk about what type of insurance agency we are and the two types of insurance agents you should absolutely avoid. And joining me today are the people I forgot. My co-host,
Eric Gastring, the Mardigan Agency.
And our special guest,
Alec Nuremberg, the Director of Operations for the Mardigan Agency.
Yeah.
TMA in the house.
So Luke brought up that we're a unique agency. We're a unique insurance agency, and there's actually three types of insurance agents out there.
Are we unique?
We're unique. We are very unique. But
in more ways than we can share.
It's the most unique agency.
Yeah.
It's the best.
We're pretty amazing.
You won't find a more unique agency in the world.
But it's quite unique. So, Luke, can you tell us about there's three different types of agents? I want you to break that down.
Yeah, so there are sheep, wolves, and sheepdog.
Interesting.
We are the sheepdog. But there are wolf agents and there are sheep agents, and you should avoid them at all costs.
What should they look for?
Well, I'm going to read from a book called On Killing by retired Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman. On Killing was one of the first, he's a West Point grad, one of the first studies of how soldiers have actually killed in war over time. It's been pretty popular. A version of it was read in the Chris Kyle story, American Sniper movie. You see this in a lot of police circles and in military circles. So this is not unique to me, and I give complete credit to Dave Grossman on this. He expounded upon it, and it really set the precedent. And then one day I just kind of woke up and go, that's how insurance agents are too. That's kind of how our industry is. So I'm going to read about it. He says, we know that sheep live in denial. That is what makes them sheep. They do not want to believe that there's evil in this world. They can't accept the fact that fires can happen, which is why they want fire extinguishers, fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire exits throughout their kids' schools. But many of them are outraged at the idea of putting an armed police officer in their kids' schools. Our children are dozens of times more likely to be killed and thousands of times more likely to be seriously injured by school violence than by school fires. But the sheep's only response to the possibility of violence is denial. The idea of someone coming to kill or harm their children is just too hard, so they just choose the path of denial. The sheep generally do not like the sheepdog. So when it comes to agents, I'm going to pause there. When it comes to agents, the sheep agents are the ones who don't worry about it. Let's just get you the best price. That's what matters the most. They're completely transactional. They don't want to know any details. They don't ask a lot of questions. They just write a policy. It's like my first policy. When I was 18 years old, I bought my dad's truck after he passed away and got a loan on it, went and got my own insurance. And the guy literally was sitting behind a computer monitor between him and me. And he's just typing away, rapping on the keyboard. And then he prints it off and he slides it over. And he's like, well, that's your quote right there. And I was like, okay, it's $225 a month. I still remember it because that was a ton of money in 2004.
Yeah,
and
especially at 18.
Yeah, I was making like $600 a week or something like that, or $500 a week, something like that. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, how do you want to pay? I was like, I got my checkbook with me because we still wrote checks in 2004. And he's like, okay, sounds good. And he prints the application off, brings the application over. I need you to review this and then sign on the last page. And then take me the check out too, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then I walked out with my certificate and I had no clue what I bought. He didn't ask me questions about like how much money I made and what kind of health insurance I had.
There's a lot of
things
assumptions
that are
on your end, probably.
Yeah. Sheep only know how to follow the white button in front of them. Right. They can't think for themselves. They can't think independently. They're not advisors.
They assume they're going in the right direction
because everybody else
everything in front of them is going in the right direction.
And when you're watching Super Bowl Sunday and you see State Farm, Progressive, Geico, Liberty Mutual, my kids even quote, the Liberty Bibberty thing, And
so do I.
Yeah, you do too. Yeah, Jay does too. It's annoying. And when you listen to those, they're just telling you, look, there's only one way to think, and it's like a sheep. You should just pay the cheapest you can for insurance. As a matter of fact, if you don't want to pay your deductible, you don't even have to do that. It costs you money, but we don't tell you that part. We just tell you that we'll forgive your accident.
Yeah. Sounds
and your
great.
deductible, and it costs more to not have a deductible. And da, da, da. Anyways, that's the sheep, right? And the sheep, just like it says in there, he's using violence. The sheep don't want to think about you actually having a claim. The sheep don't want to consider that perhaps when you walk out of their door, you could pull out onto that time I was in Grand River in East Lansing, Michigan. I'm not going to say what insurance agency it was, and right down the road from Whole Foods. And you could get hit by another car and die. And he didn't even talk to me about life insurance because the sheep agent does not want to consider that you might actually use your insurance. As a matter of fact, they don't want you to use your insurance. And if you do, they want it to be a little amount as paid out as possible so that they protect their loss ratio so they can get their bonuses. That's the sheep agent. It must be avoided at all costs. They are passive. You only hear from them when you call them. They never reach out to you for reviews. And when it comes time for someone to be an advocate for you because you need help, because you have a claim that maybe the insurance company's not willingly paying, not that that's ever happened in insurance companies ever. You can just Google insurance companies that don't pay claims and you'll find all the lawsuits out there.
Aggressive.
And excuse you. And it's when that time comes, your sheep agent will do what sheep do and go, bah, and do nothing. Sheep just eat, bah, and poop and walk. And that's all they do, right? They're not going to help you. They're not going to fight for you. They're not going to be in the trenches with you. They're not going to be wrapping a blanket around you as you watch your house burn down in ashes. They're going to make you go through years of litigation when it probably could have been prevented by just doing their job.
And that may be the most toxic, arguably. The law of large numbers says, if you have enough of a number, you're going to have a claim there. But but if that insurance agent just neglects the idea of something happening to any single one of them, I mean, it's very selfish and toxic. And I mean, it shows what they're in.
Your family experienced a sheep agent.
Yeah, firsthand.
Right?
Yeah. And it changed our lives forever.
So what holds back a sheep from achieving like the Mardigan agency?
They don't care about protecting.
Yep. Bottom line.
There's other motives there.
Yep. And who knows what it is. They're buying time.
I feel like it's a lot more selfish than it is anything else.
It is. Right? It lacks professionalism, right? Like, how can you be an insurance agent and not develop yourself professionally so that you understand and are acutely aware of the risks that your client has, so that you can talk through those and present options for them to protect themselves, right? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And insurance, it's so true. You could literally, I mean, obviously you could go overboard with it. If you go overboard with it, then that's the other type of agent that we'll talk about. And make people buy every policy on the planet that insures against every,
Right. Yeah, let's get into the wolf.
You want to get in the wolf?
Yeah.
How about we go, I'll continue reading and we'll see where Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman goes with this, one of my heroes here. The sheep generally do not like the sheepdog. This is true. Sheep agents do not like sheepdog agents. They will lie, cheat, and steal before they let a sheepdog come in and do what sheepdogs do. I've experienced it firsthand. Why? Because the sheepdog looks a lot like the wolf. He has fangs and the capacity for violence. The difference, though, is that the sheepdog cannot, and will not ever harm the sheep. Sheep being the clients in this instance.
Yes.
Any sheepdog who intentionally harms the lowliest little lamb will be punished and removed. And that's a polite way of putting that. The world cannot work any other way, at least not in a representative democracy or republic such as ours, okay? Or free market like the insurance world, right? Still, the sheep disturbs the sheep. He is a constant reminder that there are wolves in the land. And that's why sheep don't like the sheepdog, because they think the sheepdog is a wolf. Because he's got fangs and he barks and
has a capacity for violence.
Yes. Nips at their feet, right?
And authority.
Tells them to do their job.
Right. When everything's rainbows and butterflies, nobody really wants to, accept authority because everything's just
We're all
great.
sleeping. Why are you barking? There's nothing out there.
We don't need protection.
I don't need special form. I'm fine with broad form. How much does it save? $70 a year? Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather have Dish Network than pay for protection that I don't need.
Right.
Because there's no wolf out there. There's no one trying to hunt me down. So they would the sheep would prefer that the sheepdog didn't tell them where to go or give them traffic tickets or stand at ready in our airports in camouflage fatigues holding M16s, which is reality in many parts of the world. The sheep would much rather have the sheepdog cash in his fangs, spray paint himself white, and go, bah, until the wolf shows up. Then the entire flock tries desperately to hide behind one lonely sheep. As Kipling said in his poem about Tommy, the British soldier, while it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy fall behind, but it's pleased to walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. There's trouble in the wind, my boys, there's trouble in the wind. Oh, it's pleased to walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. Everyone wants the sheep agent who just makes it easy, no big deal, it's fine, you don't need all that. I'm not going to have the hard conversation about life insurance until something bad happens.
Yep.
And then the first phone call is when someone dies. After a family knows all that stuff, when they start getting into the affairs of the individual, you know when the first persons they call is?
The insurance.
Their insurance. Did they have any life insurance? And the sheep can only say, bah, no, I'm a bad agent. I'm lazy. I really didn't want to have that card conversation. So I didn't want to look like a wolf. So what's a wolf?
Yeah. What is a wolf?
Well, a sheep is really only somebody who just doesn't want to be a wolf, because they don't have the capacity to be a sheepdog. We'll talk about that. But the wolf is the high pressure, buy everything, pay more if I make you.
Just keep biting pieces.
I'm just going to go after you and take pocket share, right? They say things like, we want more pocket share and we need to round out the account and upsells and this language that is void of personal touch, right? The sheepdog care about the sheep. The wolf wants to consume the sheep.
The sheepdog live with the sheep.
The sheepdog eat the same food.
Yep.
They walk the same area. They serve the same master, right? They care about the clients, but the wolf only wants to consume them. And so there's a fine line between sheepdogs and wolves, and sheepdog can feel a whole lot like a wolf, right? Because they got the fangs and the bark and the hair puffs up when they get, angry or defensive, and they're passionate, right? I have a border collie. Every dog I've ever owned has been a sheepdog, a German Shepherd, a Shetland Sheltie, and a border collie. And all of them, I mean, it's incredible the instincts they have, right? And the way they move and the way that, like Taser, she's on her last legs here, but, she used to literally walk around with her head down like she's hunting wolves in the backyard, There's no wolves.
Protecting her family, her sheep.
Right? Herding my kids, gently herding them, never nipping at them, stuff like that. But it looks a lot like the wolf. It scares them. So the challenge is our agency's a sheepdog agency. We care about protecting them. We want to be the ones who are there to fight on their behalf when the wolf comes knocking at their door, right? And the wolf being a claim. Something bad happens. Reality is no one gives a crap how good of an insurance agent you are until they have a claim.
Right.
It is,
and ideally they won't know it at all. I don't think they want to.
I hope they never find out.
With you. Yeah, right. We don't want them to find out. Ideally,
it's funny because the sheep will be viewed that way.
Yes.
Because they're buddy and friends and
I'm sure
cool.
They're taking great care of me. Yep. They're totally protecting me, but you don't know.
They don't have the tough conversations. They don't make me uncomfortable. I like them. Yep. Right.
Yeah, there's the sheep agent. It's great. Well, I don't know. My favorite is I like my guy. He's fine. But you're underinsured by $1 million. Yeah, I know, but I really like him. I just don't think it's.
You said he's never brought up life insurance.
Yeah,
You have 4 kids?
Yeah, I'm all set.
And when a sheepdog tries to provide direction, that can seem almost insulting maybe at times because it's something that's uncomfortable and you're exposing a risk that they didn't know they faced. It's something that they didn't agree with before because they didn't know it existed.
Just like it's uncomfortable when a sheepdog bumps up against you and nips you on your heel to stop you from going off a cliff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. That's direction.
That's real life, right? Because border collies and Shetland Shelties come from the Shetlands of Ireland.
Yeah.
And where they literally have cliffs, like their sheep are next to cliffs, and so the sheepdog are the only thing stopping them from falling to complete peril. Yep. Mm-hmm. Which in our world is typically you're more likely to have a cyber attack that leads to bankruptcy or some type of getting sued and having a bankruptcy than you are dying of life, needing life insurance. Right. So it's we're trying to stop you from financial peril, trying to stop your future generations if you die from financial peril, because the stats are clear. If you die without life insurance, you're looking at 2 generations of poverty minimum.
So that right there should be enough information for those other agents, the sheeps and the wolves, to take take notice and be like, man, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that.
So
adopt compassion, care.
We challenge you to change.
Yes. If you're a wolf currently, start caring or get in another industry. Get out of the insurance agency. Go sell cars or something they don't care if you care. It doesn't matter if you care. In insurance, you got to care. This is people's everything is protected by insurance. And for your average human in America today, they're living paycheck to paycheck and they need that insurance really bad.
Or come see us and we can show you how to adopt those values.
Which it's usually easier to show sheep how to become sheepdog than it is to teach wolves to become sheepdogs. So if you're a sheep and you want to become a competent agent who cares about your clients, protects them properly, go to lsm.consulting. I have a free ebook on there about virtual advising, which is kind of our today world and has a lot of those concepts in it. That's lsm.consulting, and it'll be right on that homepage. So thank you so much for listening on this episode on sheepdog and wolves insurance agents. And make sure you check us out at the Mardigan Agency on Facebook and Instagram. That's at the Mardigan Agency. And we'll see you next time on Be Insured.